Why settle for the mundane, mediocre, and meaningless? When magnificence is available, why go for mere success when you were born for magnificence? Now, broadcasting on Radio Star Worldwide, it's time for Your Magnificent Life and Business with Marianne Amen. Listen in and be encouraged and elevated as Marianne and her guests transparently share how they have overcome obstacles, developed profitable, purpose-driven businesses, and fulfilled once buried or shelved dreams. And now here's your host, Marianne.
So come on, let me dream for you. I am strong.
Hey, hello everybody, and welcome to the Magnificent Life and Business radio show. And for those of you who are not familiar with this technology, I have my producer on the show. Can you say hello, Blade?
Hi, Marianne. Nice to meet you. Very good.
And Blade is a producer for the Star Worldwide Network radio station in Scottsdale, Arizona. And what we have done here is combined a blab along with a radio show. So you're going to be able, if you want to go back and listen to this, you'll be able to find this either archived in Blab or archived in the magnificentliferadio.com website. Okay? So my name is Marianne Amen, and I am your host for the show today. And one of the things that I talk a lot about, and I think it lights me up more than any other topic, and that is about the dreams in our heart. Last year was a year really beyond my imagination. And when you think about it, almost every year is a year beyond your imagination. So, one of the things that I want you to consider is this. I mean, we're starting at the top of the year here. We have the whole year ahead of us. And it's pretty awesome to have the whole year ahead of you. I mean, the ideas, the possibilities, the hopes, the dreams, depending on what your experience has been in the past, that's going to pretty much determine how you look forward to the future. If you have been a person that have been let down a lot, disappointed a lot, set goals and dreams, and they never came to pass, then you're not going to be terribly excited about the coming year. Most likely you're going to be thinking about it in terms of same old, same old. But you know what? That attitude can change anytime. And all it takes is a change of your attitude, and you can have a whole different year. Believe me, you do not have to have a same old year. You don't have to have a year like last year. I heard recently someone say that you shouldn't make your goals, the 2016 goals, based on 2015 results. And they even said receipts, So sometimes we are very limited in what we expect and what happens in our life, because we've kind of clamped down and closed down the possibilities. And a lot of times we're doing it because we're trying to protect ourselves. We're trying to, not experience disappointment again and again and again. And you don't have to. So one of the things today that I really wanted to talk about was the idea that right now, today, you really don't know what's going to happen this year. We can make our plans, and I think it's good to make plans. I'm a results-oriented person that basically plans her life out, but not like I used to, But we don't know today what's even going to happen tomorrow. So the beginning of 2015, I didn't know at all what to expect for 2015. I knew it was going to be good, though. I had an attitude that it was going to be good, and I was just starting to enter into the mindset. I mean, I've always kind of had this mindset, but really grabbing hold of the mindset that anything's possible. And pretty much we get to define our destiny. Now, God's already prepared that in advance for us. I truly believe that. However, we get to join in the flow and align and go places that God has planned for us that we never even dreamed we were going to go before. Somebody asked, what is the topic today? Good question. And I think you answered that, Blade. This is 5 proven practices to live a life beyond your dreams. a life beyond your dreams. And I would even say a life beyond your imagination. And I even like the word imagination better than dreams, because there are some things that happen to us in a year, and I'm talking about good things, that don't necessarily, they're not in our imagination. And I would like to invite you to be thinking about this. What happened in your life last year that you didn't even conceive of in the beginning of 2015? What happened in 2015 that when you stood there at the beginning of it in January, you never knew so-and-so, this or that was going to happen? Maybe you might have had an inkling. Maybe you thought you might have had a wish. Maybe it wasn't even in your mind at all, and something happened. And those things, which of those things are lined up with maybe your dreams, maybe some hidden dreams, maybe your destiny, maybe your purpose? Because I believe that those things happen to move you along in your purpose. And sometimes you don't even know what your purpose is. So those things that start to show up, I challenge you to look at those things and think, you know what, that might have something to do with why I'm here on this earth, you know? So be thinking about that, all right? Be thinking about that. And Blade, if you would be so kind as to welcome people as they come in and make them feel at home, I would love that. Hello, everybody who's joining. Again, this is Marian Neiman, and I have the Magnificent Life and Business Radio Show. My website, by the way, is createyourmagnificentlifenow.com. I do believe that every one of us have been created to have a magnificent life. And magnificent can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. But I don't think there's anybody that can hear the word magnificent and think about themselves being magnificent, their life being magnificent, where they don't feel a sense of enrichment or elevation. And tell me, on the chat, what do you think of that word, magnificent? I didn't even plan to ask this, but anybody there in the audience, what do you think of the word magnificent? What does it mean to you? Is there any aspect of your life that's magnificent? Just write it in the chat. I'd love to hear what you have to say about that. So let's talk a minute about some of the things. I want to share some of the things that happened last year that I didn't even imagine. All right, I didn't even imagine. So in January last year, and every January, I have the Create Your Magnificent Year event at the Lowe's Coronado Bay Resort. It's awesome. It's a small group, and anybody can come. And if you wanted to take a look at this year's lineup, it's createyourmagnificentyear.com. You can take a look at that. But last year, there was my 4th annual. I had it there. And while I was leading everybody, and what I try to do is help people connect to their dreams, their passions, before they even begin their year. So their year can be really productive aligned with the plans and purposes God has for you, for your life personally and for your life business-wise. So I was doing some teaching, and it dawned on me that one of the things I always wanted to do, but I never had done, was to get into maybe modeling. Well, I had done some modeling, but acting, even commercials. And I had this little memory come up in my mind, and I was a little girl, and I was doing cleaning the bathroom. I might have been 10 years old or something, and I was cleaning the bathroom. And as I was washing the windows with the Windex at the time, and then polishing with Pledge, those are the cleaners we use, I noticed that on the back of the can, there were words describing the product. And I started just reading the back of the words, back of the can, like that was my script. And the mirror was my camera. And I started doing TV commercials in my own mind with these cleaning products. Well, I should have been cleaning. But anyway, that whole idea was meaningless to me. It just seemed meaningless. Those little things seem meaningless. And you forget about them. It's just a little kid playing. What's the big deal? Well, at the beginning of 2015 last year, the thought struck me, what would it take for somebody like me at my age to get into acting, modeling, whatever? So I had a speaking engagement with a coaching class, an acting class. So every year I've done this talk to acting students at Raleigh Studios. And first time I did it, it was a fluke. I don't even know why I was there, but I've been doing it ever since. They've liked me enough to come back and to speak inspired motivational messages to their acting students. I'm not an actress. I'm not in the acting field. I even wondered, why am I even doing this? Why would you even want me to come and talk to them? I don't know anything about acting. But I did a good job. I inspired them, and they've been asking me to come back ever since. Well, when this idea came into my mind, I thought, I'm going to ask Jason, who happened to be the acting coach who had hired me, what it would take for somebody my age to get into acting. But you know what? It seemed like a stupid thought. It just was one of those thoughts that, and I thought, no, you're going to look like an idiot. You don't act. What are you just kind of going off on some tangent? You're a coach. You're a coach. You're a business advisor. This does not fit with what you do. Or so I thought. And that really brings me to one of the practices that I promote now. And it's actually, let me say, the fourth one. And it is to act on little thoughts. All right. Now, there's a few practices that come before that, but this relates to acting as if, act on little thoughts. And I want to show you what happened when I didn't and what I did when I did. And acting may not even be anything that you have any interest in. There's a lot of people that could care less. But what is it for you? You know, it could be something else for you. So I was going to act on this thought with this person that hired me, but I decided not to. Why? For fear of being a fool, for fear of looking dumb, you know, kind of like harebrained or not serious. I don't know what I was thinking, but it was a fear. It was a certain fear, and it shut me down, and I decided not to ask any questions. Well, did anything happen related to acting because of my position of not taking action? No, of course not. Nothing changed. Nothing happened. Well, about 2 weeks later, the idea came up again, and I happened to be talking to somebody who happens to own a talent agency. And when I was asking her, and I decided I'm going to ask her, like with the last person, I decided I'm not going to ask her. This time I decided to be a fool, to look like a fool, or at least risk it and ask the question, what would it take? Do you ever have a need for somebody who's my age, looks like me, Asian older woman, in acting? And lo and behold, she said, all the time. Now, if I never asked the question, I just thought it, I never would have gotten to the next step, which was to get signed by a very prestigious talent agency, to go on auditions, to have this whole different arena open up to me. That was something beyond my imagination. I never thought about it. At the beginning of January 15, it didn't fit in with or so I thought, it didn't fit in with my business plan. It didn't fit in but it did fit in with my overall thinking. And what was my overall thinking? That you have dreams in your heart put in there by God. You have a destiny, you have purposes, and you don't even know it half the time. We don't often know it half the time. So that leads me to my number one practice and belief about the whole business of dreams. The whole business of dreams. Number one piece of advice that I have for you is shore up, strengthen your faith that God has dreams for you. That is one of the most important things that you can do in life, is to believe and shore up your belief and strengthen your belief that God created you with dreams in mind, that God created you to be magnificent, that God created you with already a destiny and a purpose for your being. And a lot of it is fun. It's meant to be joyful. It's meant to be adventurous and exciting life. It's not meant to be ho-hum. You know, many of us get into a ho-hum existence, a mediocre existence, a mundane existence. And like I always say, go for mundane. Go for mundane. Don't go for mundane, go for magnificent. Oh my gosh, I said it completely wrong. Haha. So here's the deal.
We know what you meant.
Yes. Did you catch that?
Got it.
Don't go for mundane. All right, let me repeat that. Don't go for mediocre, go for magnificent. So, and I want to give you that number one tip, that number one thing I practice. And then if anybody's got a question, Blade, if you got a question or want to make a comment, you know, I'd love to have you aboard. And I actually have a couple of guests coming on, and I'm not quite sure where they are. Let me just check on something.
Are you looking for Janie?
I was looking for Janie and Carol.
Okay. Haven't seen Carol yet, but Janie subscribed.
Yes.
So
she said she's going to be about 10 minutes late, so
okay.
I think she'll be coming in when she can.
The Audacity coach, any idea? Sounds like somebody in your
coach. No. Oh, I think I might know who that is. If you want to reveal yourself.
Audacity.
Carol, for some reason, subscribed, but it won't let her join. I'm not quite sure why. This has happened before to us, hasn't it?
Well, Marianne, did she tweet? You got to tweet a little bird or whatever, right? Maybe she hasn't done that. You have to tell a little bird, right? As part of being part of the Blab conversation. I wonder if she did that. She may or may not have. That's what you have to do.
Well, you know what she did? She subscribed, so then she should be able to come to the page and then just click on join, right? Or just show up here?
Maybe. But I think she should tweet it and try that. Try to tell a little bird, top left, tweet. Try that, what the heck.
Okay, let's see. Let me just ask her. Oh, she heard you. Okay. Mm-hmm. So maybe she's in. All right. So Carol, if you can hear me, there is, Janie's calling in. I'm going to let Janie in here.
Well, there's Janie. Okay, good.
All right. Hey, Janie. There she
Hi,
is.
Marianne. How are you?
Hey, good to see you. Yeah.
You too.
We were just talking about, starting off at the beginning of 2015, how every year, I don't know if this is something we actually think about, but every year we make our plans, we think about what we want to do for the year, but the truth is we don't really know what's going to happen in that year.
That's right.
All right? You had a lot of things happen to you last year. When you were in the beginning of the year, and I know you came to my event in January and sat there on the waterfront thinking about communing with God, about your dreams and so forth. But let me ask you this. Have you had things happen to you that were even beyond your dreams?
Absolutely. And I wasn't prepared for my throat getting a little lump in it, but my life has been absolutely blessed in a very different way since attending your event. And I have to say that my relationship with God is so much more magnified, and his favor on my life is so much more miraculous. And I really attribute that to the calm filled with grace, intellectual, loving way that you prepare us for what lies ahead in our lives. And I think what happened to me after that event was that I was able to quiet my mind. I was able to listen to my own voice more clearly, but specifically listen to God's voice, which, sometimes it's like, is that you or is that me thinking that,
Sure.
It's hard to know, but I think that the tools that you equip us with, with just some of the practices during your event, where we are still and where we do some writing and where we do some listening, active listening. Yeah, I mean, of course, it's hard to just sum up in one little thing here, but
Sure.
I truly believe that my life shifted on such an incredible scale because of you and your ability to really just help guide us all. And I love you for that. I'm so thrilled to be going again in January. And if there's anyone out there listening and you're on the fence or you are thinking, you want this to happen, please do make it happen. I mean, I would say that it was my most favorite event of the entire year, and I had a busy year.
Right. Well, I thank you for that. And, that's one of my joys is to actually have an event where people can come. And, there's so many times where we're rushing here, we're rushing there, we're gathering information, trying to be better, improve ourselves, learn more. And really, this is a time for us to just be quiet, listen to what's going on inside you, your own intuition, your relationship with God. So one of the things that I was saying, Janie, is that, one of my number one top practices and things that I have worked on is getting clear in my mind as to what is God's intention for me and my life. And and I noticed that, and tell me what you think about this, but I think your perception of God determines your level of expectancy. What do you think of that? Your perception of God determines the level of expectancy.
I agree completely. And I have to say that I even had a few little miracles this morning that I believe were directly related to my perception of God. And I was having a morning where I was letting some of the human stuff creep in, a little bit of worry about finances. And I thought, no, why? I know better. But I was getting ready I had to book a flight out of Phoenix back to Anchorage, and I had to book a car for a week in Phoenix in February. Now, Phoenix International Airport is one of the most expensive to rent a car from.
It is. It's true. Yes.
And I just stopped, and I actually just did a very thoughtful prayer, and with great expectancy, like knowing I say blessings and miracles every day. Do I truly believe it? In a moment like this morning, I was like, I need to practice what I preach.
Yeah.
And I just said prayer, and then I got online. I got all the way back home for free, 12,500 miles, nonstop from Phoenix to Anchorage.
Wow.
That was a miracle.
How much did you say?
12,500 miles.
Wow. Yeah.
That's nothing.
I know.
Usually it's 20,000,
I know.
And
that was
and my rent. Yeah.
Right.
And my rental car, which the normal rate is about $450 a week for that, from Phoenix. I got on, and they had like some deal on these little cars. Actually, it wasn't even the smallest car. And I got it for under $200 for the entire week.
That's great.
So, I mean, I think the thing is that we try to plan everything. We try to do everything. We try to be in control of everything. And it's when we let go.
Yes.
And I know it's such a, it's such a cliche, let go and let God, but that's when the miracles flow.
It is. And we're not saying that you don't have a plan. And it doesn't say that you don't have any strategies. But I think that when we trust God with our dreams, when we trust God with our plan, the plans and purposes, and we listen and we position ourselves, we almost like we're setting ourselves up for so much more, aren't we?
Yeah.
You know, so I'm thinking, you know, when you started off at the beginning of last year, and you are already a very positive person, you're already a person that brings light into a room and raises the vibrational energy just by your presence. You are just a shining star, and I love you. So, you know, you don't have far to go to go to the next step of expansiveness, you know? But I think that what's so cool about you is that you do go to the next step of expansiveness. You don't stay even as high level thinking and feeling as you are and expecting as you are. You are always growing. You're always increasing. And to me, that is such the ways of God. The ways of God, you know? And so one of the things I love, and you're not bound up by all kinds of doctrine and religious practices. Yours really is you are heart-filled, and your heart just explodes on behalf of God and behalf of people and the work and the dreams. So you are committed to your dreams. You are committed to your dreams. Now, here's the thing. You had to know at some point, didn't you, or have an inkling of what the dreams in your heart are? I mean, you worked for a while as a teacher at a school, and that was great. But at some point, you made a shift. At some point, you made a transition, didn't you?
I did. You know, and it's funny. Say again?
Follow a dream.
Yeah. Well, you know, I started writing music when I was 12 years old. And I remember thinking back then, you know, as I would do talent shows and as kids would throw money in my guitar case at lunch, you know, in junior high, I remember thinking that was the path that I should take.
Right.
And so I really worked on my music, on my writing and all of that. But in the process, God had a bigger plan for me in terms of my taking the music and the message to a group of students in Alaska, thousands and thousands of students.
I just want to interject here. Janie is an Emmy award-winning singer-songwriter, right?
Yeah.
So she's not like just somebody that, you know, not to say there's anything wrong with sitting by the side of a road or a New York City street and putting money in your, she is Emmy award winning. And so continue your story.
As an example.
Today I ask the universe, teach me what I cannot see. Give me faith so that I can believe. Help me find the rhythm of my soul and let her breathe. Turn on my light and let her shine.
I always wondered if Janie liked hearing her songs. I always wondered that.
That was pretty fun of you to just interject that.
That's the producer.
Yes. Thanks, Blade. Thank you. Thank you.
I love you, Blade.
I love North Stars.
Oh,
Just the whole concept of it. Just the whole concept of the North Star. I always throw in the Three Kings with that too.
Yes, yes. Well, I think that, you know, it's funny that you brought that up because I think that God's plan for me was for me to be that sort of shining star, but to use me to help all of these thousands of students find their North Star. And in the process of doing that for 26 years, some of it in the middle of nowhere, you know, in the villages with no running water and, you know, 40 below and all that, all the way through to being in the most diverse high school in the nation. We had over 45 languages spoken.
Oh my God.
And Yeah, and I believe that his purpose for me was to help all of those students through the years find their North Star, and in the process, he built me up because those experiences, that mentoring, just the incredible love and nurturing that happens in a schoolroom, especially choir. You know how choirs are. But that whole plan, I always said, I'm never going to be a teacher. I'll never be a teacher, and I'll never be a secretary, and I'll never be a nurse. And what do I turn out to be as a teacher? But in the end, the shift came when I realized that I was through with that. Like my passion shifted, and all of a sudden I felt like I was supposed to make the world my classroom, because didn't I have a responsibility? If I was able to have that kind of impact on that many students, then didn't that sort of give me a responsibility to see if maybe I could do it on a global level?
Well, and when you started off, you had a certain idea in your mind of what you wanted to do, of what it was going to look like, and you are doing that, but has this turned into way more than you imagined?
It has. My dream is still
more to go, isn't there?
Well, yeah. I mean, my dream is still so huge,
right?
And I think that's important for all of us, because you can't say this is my dream and then reach it and then go, oh, okay, I'm done. I mean,
done. Yeah.
As you grow, your dream grows, and so what I think is really fun is that. This makes me think of Nashville. The city of Nashville is here, and there are offshoots like a spider that go in every direction. It's different than, like, Phoenix is very much a grid. You're either going north or south or east or west. But with Nashville, there's that downtown city, and then everything, all these fingers that go out. Well, I feel like that's what's happened with my career. I have this thing in the middle, that's me and God and our dream of creating all this raising of vibration and this love on the planet. But it's not just like, okay, I'm going to be a country music rock star, or okay, I want to speak and sing at assisted living homes, or okay, I want to be involved in doing personal growth events, or I want to be a recording artist, or I want to work in the schools with students still. It's like all of the things that I've been setting up, that God's been helping me set up, are creating all of these spider legs. So I look like I'm going in a million directions, and it's like, well, wait a minute, what's your brand? And well, I don't want to focus on just one thing and say, well, that's all I'm going to do, or that's what I'm going to. No, I want to reach as many people as I can, and I can do it through all these avenues.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when do you think that your faith that God had dreams for you, or you were in partnership with God about your dreams, started to really take root?
Well, I have to say that for some reason, I had a relationship with God when I was, when I came out of the womb. From my earliest memory, I had this relationship with God. I remember one of the first songs that I wrote was called Jesus, You're My Friend. And I was 12 years old, and I came in from out back, and, I'd always come into the kitchen, and my mom and dad would be like, okay, what'd you write tonight? And I would play this. And so I sang this song about Jesus being my friend. And they would always just look at me and say, how do you know these things? And so I believe that, I do believe that I'm an old soul, and that I've had God in and through me for so long that there's an innate, there's something there. But truly, I have to say that, I have to say that the depth of my relationship with God and my communication was shifted dramatically after your event. year.
Oh, wow.
And I don't say that to just blow smoke,
Yeah.
I just have had a magnificent flow
Yes.
since your event.
Well, and I'm really, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I think the main point about that event, and I'm not really trying to talk about the event as much as the principles here, but one of the things, and it's really the second practice the first practice really is developing your faith that God has dreams for you. And there's a lot of people in this world who have strong faith in God, but what they believe about God is that he's more of a cruel God or a taskmaster God or a God that wants to punish them or they're whatever. So it creates obstacles for them to moving forward in their dream. So their faith in God can actually create obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Obstacles. So the second practice is to become aware. How is it that your faith does your faith engender fear, or does it promote action and moving forward? So you can have faith in God, but what your faith in God is can either help you or it can hurt you, right?
Right.
So what I've noticed about you is that you have the kind of faith in God of a God of impossibility, a God of goodness, a God that wants to help you release your gifts and your dreams into the world because they're good. The second thing, though, I've known is that you do have sometimes, we all have insecurities. We all have, certain things. So if we can have that faith, but then we also can have certain mindsets, subconscious things that hold us back. So the second thing is, and thank you, Blake, for writing this down, be aware, be aware of the beliefs that you have. Are your beliefs helping you or are they hurting you? Right? And I think one of the things that happens at the event is that you have time to get in touch with that. You have times, and I do have that exercise, the belief to results, where I can help you to figure out what beliefs are hurting you and what beliefs are helping you. And so once you can clear the path, and that's really about clearing the path, whatever obstacles may be in your way, you can clear it.
Right.
You can remove the resistances. And I think that's what I've watched you do too, is to be a lot more aware of different resistance that you might have to your own dreams.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then by doing that, by being aware and by doing something about it, by tackling and challenging those disempowering beliefs, you're opening a door to more.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You're opening the door to more. A lot of people won't go for their dreams because of what they perceive they're going to either have to do, they're going to have to give up, not realizing that there's a door they can open to more for their lives. And it's not just more work, it's more glory, it's more goodness, it's more adventure, it's more fun.
Yeah.
So you've had that dream. So the third thing, the third principle, and tell me what you think about this, is discover, embrace, and commit to your purpose. Discover, embrace, and commit to your purpose. So now that's honing in a little bit more. So the first principle is really having a general knowledge and experience that God has dreams for you. He's on your side. You can go with the flow. It's easier to go with the flow than trying to make all this happen on your own, right?
Right.
That's number one. Number two, be aware of the things and the obstacles. But more specifically now, what is your dream? What are the purposes in your heart? And to know that God's got even more for you than that. But you still have to kind of have a starting point. So from a little girl, pretty much, you knew, didn't you?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
You've probably heard the saying before by von Goethe that says, whatever you can do or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, magic, and power in it. Begin it now. Mm-hmm. Someone gave me that quote in college, and later in the years, I found it, and I read it to my husband, and we started living our lives that way and really truly believing that You know, as you dream, you know, you take that step. I mean, God has a plan, but you still have to take the steps. You still
That's right.
have to, you know, hit the go button. And as you take a step, you know, it's like a myriad of things come back your way that you would never dream could have come your way. But
And you know what? That's actually step number 4 for me.
oh, okay.
Thank you for that lead in, because, you know, once you start, you really do understand there's a lot of people walking around, they don't have clarity. They don't know what the dreams are. They've either lost the dreams, or they don't dare to, or they don't understand that they are here for a purpose and a reason, but they don't pursue it. When you do, you then have to act as if. You have to act on. You have to have that mindset that you're open and expectant. There's almost like you have to have almost an adventurous mindset, don't you?
You do.
Yeah. And then you have to act on the little things that come before you. So when you look back on last year, you know, if you hadn't taken certain actions, would you have realized some of the things that happened to you?
Well, absolutely not.
Can you share some of that?
Well, I can, you know, one of the biggest miracles that happened to me this year was this summer. Actually, it was May. And my parents, I had moved my parents to Mesa, Arizona in 2013 into assisted living. And my dad had Alzheimer's and Lou Gehrig's ALS. And my mom is just about blind, and they couldn't live up in northern Maine anymore and you know, take care of their big house and all that. So we moved them. And in May of last year, the place we moved them to had shifted ownership, and the meds were being given wrong. You know, we were really fearing for my parents' safety. And one night I just had this incredible feeling. And I told my husband, I said, I have to go move my parents. And he said, honey, get on a plane tomorrow. And I got on a plane the next day, and I didn't even tell my parents I was coming. My little sister met me there. We found a place in Chandler. We prayed that day. We set up a whole bunch of places, but we got this new home for them. It was a miracle. That's a whole nother story, but it was a miracle how it all happened. And while I'm there, they said, could you do a house concert for us? You know, we'd love to. We know you did that at the last place. During that house concert, a woman and her mother heard me singing songs about love and kindness and all this stuff. And this woman asked me, she sent me an email the next week, and she said, I don't know if I can afford you. I don't know if you have time for me. It looks like you're pretty famous from the looks of your website, you know? And she said, but is there any way you might be able to write a song for my book? Now, there's a whole story that goes with that. But in a nutshell, God brought me back to Phoenix area for a purpose. And it was to move my parents, but partly it was to align me with Julie and her mother, to write this song. It is all about love. It's the third song on the album. And what that did is that it allowed me to go back to Nashville to record and do a whole album. Because prior to that, I didn't see an album this year. I didn't see a new, and I always know when my projects are coming. I did not see it coming. But what happened was, and I had your song, Back to the Garden, that I really wanted to record. And I wanted, you know, I had all these things in my mind that I wanted. I was in the middle of writing something. Well, what happened was, because of the inspiration from this woman, I not only wrote her song, but I wrote the song, the North Star song for Martha Beck and several others. And I was able to go to Nashville and record them all and put them on this incredible album that has now given me sort of a platform for what I'm, you know, for what I'm doing this year.
Okay. So last year you had Beyond Your Imagination was really the album. You completed an album last year, and you had these songs. I mean, when you wrote a song for me and for my event.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That was a beyond my imagination thing, right? And to know that later on it could be included in an album, a professionally done, Nashville, Tennessee, and you won an award last year. Did you imagine that?
These kinds of things, I love to keep in my mind that, I'm going to win a Grammy, and I'm going to win, I'm going to be in the top 40. Now it's sort of funny because I kept saying I'm going to have a number one song. Well, what's really funny about that is that I don't have a number one song in the Carrie Underwood field of number one songs, but North Star is a number one song right now in the Nashville Songwriters Association International. It's a different level, but it's like, so these dreams, sometimes you have these big dreams, and the hugeness hasn't happened yet, but all these things that happen along the way inspire you to keep going for the big dream.
Well, and on top of it, so it brings up another point though, too. I mean, there are some things that we can set our intentions and things happen beyond all that, right? They just happen beyond all that. Those are like the absolute surprising things of life.
Right.
God surprises us with some of these events. But then on top of it, another practice really is setting your intention. Is that you said that you wanted to be a Grammy award-winning singer-songwriter, and you have been. You wanted to have top 40, and you have. So there is something very powerful about the setting of the intention. And so to me, and that really is like number 5, right? Make sure you set your intentions and take your intentions seriously. Even feel into when you talked about top 40 or the Grammy, could you even feel what that was going to be like?
Well, I always think about people like the gymnast. Oh, she was such a cutie pie. What was the gymnast that won? I can't believe
Comaneci, the Romanian one, or the American?
The American one. And she said that they said, now how did it feel? Mary Lou. Redding. So she said, they said, how did you feel when you got up there to accept your Olympic gold award? And she said, it felt like it did every time I accepted it in the mirror to my hairbrush or something like that, Yeah. And so I think I have learned sort of that power of setting the intention and then sitting with it and feeling it as though it had already happened. Like literally just feeling what it would feel like, what it does feel like, and knowing that is going to bring it to me so much more quickly and more efficiently and effectively than if I just set the intention and go, sure hope God helps me with this one, or sure hope,
Exactly. Yes, you get directly into the experience of it. Yes. And the truth of the matter is our body, our minds, our hearts doesn't know the difference between whether we're experiencing it in 3D world or we're experiencing it in our imagination.
Yes.
It's the same thing to it, so it's already done.
Yes.
It's already done. So that's awesome. The other thing too, I wanted to bring up, and this is actually number 6. I said 5, but here's 6. Maybe it was going to be 4. I don't know. Wow. I don't know.
You're so cute.
Now every one of our dreams and our passions, our destiny requires certain resources. And a lot of times those resources, and whether it's human resources, people that come along our way to help us, or maybe it's financial resources that we need. Maybe it's opportunity and circumstances we need to show up, So, for me, it's always being mindful, again, that God has got provision for us, and that provision can come in the form of different channels. Would you say that that's real important to know that in moving forward?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I think it's like with anything in life, there's not, you can't have the blinders on. There's not just one path to success. There's not just one way to crack an egg, or whatever those sayings are. And the channels, I don't even really remember exactly what your question was, but just that la 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 la.
The question is, do you think it's important for us to believe that because God's got this, that he's also got the resources we need to accomplish it?
Absolutely.
I mean, it was no cheap thing, inexpensive thing, small thing for you to get an album done in Nashville, Tennessee with tell me the quality about the people that you
well, first,
it says we only got about 3 minutes too. So.
Okay. Well, so in a nutshell, the fiddle player, Janae Fleener, just won the CMA, Country Music Association, CMA Touring Musician of the Year. She tours with Blake Shelton. She's played with Martina McBride. She's played with everyone who's anyone. She's our fiddle player on Your Beautiful Song. Isn't she just amazing? And there were over 100 gold and platinum albums in the room with the, between all the musicians. And, so we're talking about potentially the most incredible musicians on the planet are on this album. Now, if that isn't the grace of God.
Before we can keep on going for a little bit, but before this recording is over too, I have to say, I got to tell everybody, createyourmagnificentyear.com. You need to be there to start your year off in the most energetic, inspiring location and group of people. Janie is going to be leading us in song. She is going to be helping all of us. So her magnificence, her song, her vibration is going to be causing us to enter into this place and space of freedom and ability to connect. And I just can't speak highly enough about her ability, about her as a person, but her ability to raise us up. And I just think that if you want to be in a place where the flow is easy, right? About and then just to expect this amazing year you're going to have, and even have a place and space for you to write it all out to the extent you know it today, because believe me, you got to stay flexible in this journey, right? Yeah, you need to be there. CreateYourMagnificentYear.com and come and see Janie as she leads us in our morning times and our times when we are going to be having real introspection. Dig deep. Janie will be there to help us with that as well. So I just wanted to make sure, because we're going to have to end the radio show anyways, and Blade is going to be leaving us in just a minute. So I wanted to make sure I got that out there.
Yeah.
So continue. So then what you were having was this amazing experience. And let me just say goodbye for the radio show. Thank you, everybody who's listening to the radio show. Create Your Magnificent Life Now is my website. It's Marianne Amen. And this radio show is called Your Magnificent Life and Business Radio Show. And it's with the awesome Star Worldwide Network in Scottsdale, Arizona. And Blade is our amazing producer. And I just want to thank you, Blade, for helping us out here. And I think that's it for the radio show. But I would like to continue the blab for a few more minutes and wrap this up with you.
Thank you for listening to Your Magnificent Life and Business with Marianne Amen. You can hear Marianne live every week or on demand 24/7 right here on Radio Star Worldwide.
So thank you, Blade. We will talk to you again next week. If there's anybody here, we're going to stay on just for a few more minutes. I don't know if there's anybody that's still in the chat audience who would like to join us and talk about the dreams of their heart. God's got a plan for your life, something that you are looking forward to 2016. And we'd love to have you join us. So, all right, so you are in Nashville, Tennessee, and you just finished your album, right? Or you're working on your album. What was it like to actually get there and have that all happen?
Well, this was my second recording project in Nashville. So thankfully, when I go there, I have a family now. I have a Nashville family, and I have a producer, Matt Wilder, who he's the one who lines me up with this incredible group of session players. And, you know, he knew Janae Fleener, the fiddle player.
You have your own wrecking crew.
Yes, right. He knew Janae.
You know who they are, right?
Yeah. When she was only a kid, and he was the one who got her first recording gig. So he, I mean, basically, you know, he's worked with a lot of these musicians for a very long time. And one of the most magical parts of this project was that I got into the studio and we were doing 7 hours that day. They call it sessions, and they're broken up into morning and afternoon. So we did 4 songs in the morning, then we went to lunch together, and then we came back in the afternoon. But in the process of that day, I went in there thinking my album was going to be called In Full Color, which is the last song on the album. I was going to start the album with that. And we got to doing North Star, and the drummer looked at me and he said, "This is your title song for the album, isn't it?" And I said, "Well, it wasn't going to be." And he said, "Oh, this is your title song for the album." He's like, "Think about it. North Star." I mean, first of all, the way that the song unfolded and the message of the song to open the album with that. But then also he's like, you know, you're from Alaska, you know, a North Star. And I don't know, it just all came together. But we went to lunch, we came back, we recorded the final 3 songs. And after a 7-hour session, everyone was free to go. And these, you know, these musicians they're very busy. And everyone was free to go, and everyone stayed. Like, people just hung out with me for like another hour. And Skip Franklin, the guy that I've worked with a lot down there with marketing, he was there and he said, "Janie, do you realize how magnificent that is, that these people wanted to spend time with you and just hang out and laugh and tell stories, and it's like they're your friends now." That to me was such a beautiful thing, because for me, it's always about the hearts. It's always about connecting. And so it doesn't matter who you're connecting with, whether they're an old person, a young person, a famous person, a not so famous person, a student, a, you know, relative, whatever. When you can sit with them and really share from the heart, and then something grows out of that, a relationship grows out of that. That to me is why we're here. And so the beautiful album that came out of this, you know, this experience is creating all kinds of other opportunities for relationships. But, you know, the way it started with those relationships and that deep love, and Lonnie, the drummer, so beautiful. He said to me, and he's drummed on like everyone's album. He's got so many gold albums on his wall. It's unbelievable. Partway through the event, you know, where I always tell stories as I go, and he says, "Janie, you really do have the favor of God on you." And
oh my God.
Yeah. And a lot of the people in Nashville, they're all very spiritual and connected to God, which I love. You know, you go down there and you're just like immersed in wonderful, you know, wonderful, spiritual, connected people.
Well, you know, for those of you who are listening in, this is Mary Ann Amen, and I'm talking with my good friend Janie Leidy, who is from Alaska and has actually produced, I don't know if you call them produced, Janie, or what do you call them? You've created 2 albums, and the last one was in Nashville, Tennessee. And
that was
right,
my 6th album, believe it or not.
Okay, but the second one in Nashville.
Yes.
second one in Nashville. It's called North Star, right?
Yeah.
Where can people get this?
They can get it on iTunes. So
Okay.
it's on iTunes. You just Janie Lighty, North Star. They can also go to my website, janielighty.com. And it's JANIELIDEY.com. And I have a new release page where they can listen to samples, and there's links to purchase through many different avenues.
And the other thing too that we were talking about is that Janie came and is a participant and to help do music at my event last January called Create Your Magnificent Year. And so you can go to createyourmagnificentyear.com, and that's an event where people come in touch with their own dreams and desires and goals for the year coming up ahead. Mm-hmm. Now, when you came to the event last year, and I know you had some major encounters with God about your dreams and solidified some things about your dreams. And I know that not only did you pull the vibrational level up in the room, but you also experienced it for yourself. Mm-hmm. So did you know at the beginning of the year that you were going to be producing this album?
No, I did not.
Mm.
Usually when I have an album project in mind, I have a timeline for it. I kind of know what songs are going on it. I had started building lists like I always do. After I finish one album, I start building lists of potential things for the next album.
Yes.
But almost none of those things were on the list that actually came out. What happened when I started listening to your messages about your event, which was in November, December last year, and you started sending us out emails with really just beautiful, some of it was scripture, some of it was, just your deep thoughts and feelings about where you wanted to take the event. Mm-hmm. When I listened to and read your messages, something just swelled up inside of my heart. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And that's how the song Back to the Garden came out, because I was actually sitting on my bed reading your message, and I pulled my guitar over, and I had a little melody that I had started playing around with after a lesson I took from one of my session players, who's like this magnificent. He's not allowed to give lessons, but he was just sharing with me. But I started playing that, and I had that melody for like months, and nothing was right for it. It was waiting for your message. And so then I put the two together, and it was just incredible. And I got to tell you, when I recorded the album, your song, you always sit down and you play the song to the group, they chart it, and then we go into our rooms and we record. When I played that song, the guitar player, who's like one of the best on the planet, looked at me and he said, "Janie, why do you need me here?" And I was like, "Oh, come on, Jerry, He decided to have me play that myself. So I used to play all my own stuff on my albums, but in Nashville, that's not the way it's done. You let the session players play everything, even if you can play it pretty well. So I played that one myself because he was like, "I don't want to do it, like you do it."
Wow.
But anyway, all the songs that came, your song, Martha Beck's, North Star message, that was the same kind of experience, although I've never met Martha, but just reading her blog and her message. Yeah. Noah St. John, who the second song is about. All of the songs.
Yeah, by the way, give us like props here. We would love some props too while Jamie's talking. Go ahead, Jamie. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Props.
Anyway, all of the songs were inspired by really amazing, magnificent people that I believe God brought into my life and shared these messages with me at such an opportune time. And the whole album, like just wrote itself within such a short time.
Mhm.
And it's somewhat of a theme album because throughout, it's all songs really about finding your North Star, getting back to the garden, living it out, dreaming a dream.
And you're
being
going
the
to
boy.
be those songs at my event in January this year, in just next week, actually.
Yes.
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 I can't wait.
I
can't
am
wait.
so excited. You know, when
Yeah.
you asked me to come back again,
Yeah.
that was probably one of my, biggest blessings of the end of the year, was just the thought that I would start my year again with you was unbelievably like,
I can't wait. Well, we're going to have to get going, but I want everybody to, Janie's got an amazing story. And that's one of the things I love about what I do, is working with amazing people with amazing stories. They have dreams in their heart. And really, Janie, you have gone through sometimes hell and back to accomplish these things. And the beauty about it is it's worth it. It's worth it. And you're not even done yet. You still have a long way to go, as I do too,
Yes.
But our dreams are worth it. But even as big as our dreams are, God has got even bigger dreams for us. He's got things even beyond that, thrilling things for us to do. And I had no idea at the beginning of January that I would be at the same time next year, the following year, living in Scottsdale, Arizona. Not even on my radar, And that's one of the things I think I really want to encourage people to do, is to be open, to be flexible, to not be scared of your dreams, to not be scared of God's plans and intentions and purposes for you. Because believe me, you're meant for them. They are perfect for you. Your dreams are perfect for you, aren't they? They're not always the easiest to accomplish. I mean, they aren't. They're not the easiest to accomplish, and we need to rely on a big God to help us with our big dreams. But they're so worth it. And I just want to encourage everybody, take a look at createyourmagnificentyear.com and see if it's possible. It's only a week away, but see if it's possible to come down to the Lowe's Coronado Bay Resort. We have it right on the water. I lead you through exercises. We're also tomorrow, I am going to be interviewing Dr. Nick Castellano. And, we got somebody who's wanting to. Dr. Nick Castellano, who is going to help you to create your dreams and reality through quantum physics. He will be at the event and giving us some empowerment through his teaching. So, and then we've got Karen Strauss coming, the Jewish mindset about making money. Sometimes our dreams require money. And so we need to learn how to be good manifestors of money. And whatever blocks and barriers we have about making money, hey, we got to fix that too. So anyway, those are some of the things that we're going to be talking about. And I'm going to be coming on the blog, blabbing. I'm going to be blabbing a lot over the next week about some of the things that are going to be happening and bringing awesome people like you on. So Janie, thank you for your story. Thank you for your candor, your transparency. And thank you for all the wonderful things that you said happened at the event. I actually was not expecting that. So beyond my imagination. And thank you for Back to the Garden, that beautiful song you wrote that represented what's going on for me and our event. So thank you, everybody, for signing up. If you are not a follower, I would appreciate you to become a follower. And I'm going to have more blabs about fulfilling your dreams, obstacles to your dreams and how to get over them, planning them out, but staying flexible, relying on the resources and the strategies of God to help you get through it and to fulfill your God-given destiny that's perfect for you. So God bless. Thank you, Janie. I love you.
Thank
And
you, Marianne. I love you too.
I'll see you soon. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, then.